We are epic. From the summoning pits with 3 guardians to now 6 clans with over 700 members. We are epic. Epic Alpha, Bravo, Delta, Echo, and Foxtrot. And we will continue to grow and continue to gain guardians that would like to stand together and fight the darkness, or whatever Bungie decides to call it. And you are listening to Radio Epic. Alright, so for the ones of people that are watching this, this is Radio Epic, episode 25, and tonight we have David Allen 353. David, how you doing?
Pretty good.
And we have special guest Lore with us. Lore, how's it going, man?
Great, honored to be here. Thank you.
Well, very glad to have you. Thank you for being on. Now, guys, Lore is only going to be here for part of the time, and then David and I will do the podcast. And so we are going to ask Lore a couple questions, and then he's got a statement he said he would like to read, and then we will say goodbye to Lore for tonight. So, Lore, I guess the first question is, what is it like seeing a clan that literally started with 3 guardians grow up right now to, I guess it's over 700 members with 6 clans, and like 4 of them are full? What's it like just seeing the growth of your the clan that you helped start?
It's beyond amazing. I cannot believe when I really stop and think about what you're saying. It really blows me away. I'm just happy that there's so many people who found a home, who found a family, who can always play with other people that like-minded, happy, friendly, helpful. Like, you can trust everybody in Epic, and to find that many people and bring them all together, it just blows me away.
It's every once in a while you kind of forget, and you just have that moment of like, I'm in Epic Delta Squad, or I'm in Epic Echo Squad, or I'm in Echo Foxtrot, or something like that, or I'm in the original Epic Squad itself. So sometimes you just forget that, and I think that's pretty amazing. So what would you like to see? One last question before we move on. What would you like to see in Epic? Where do you sort of seeing it going, or is this sort of just blowing your mind already, like you just said?
Well, since I'm not playing Destiny 2, I really have to leave that up to the current moderators, whatever they can handle. I mean, I of course would be very happy to see it continue to grow larger and larger, but I wouldn't want it to get out of hand for the current mods. I think it's in a good place right now from what I've observed, and so whatever they can handle, the bigger the better to me, but not beyond what's controllable.
Well, I think the current mods have talked about that a lot. And actually, if you didn't know, everyone listening, we actually added another mod today. Uncle Butters has been added as mod. So as we grow, we continue to pull people from our ranks that are doing good things. And so I think we're at a good spot right now, like you said. But we will definitely make sure that we have the moderators to make sure our clan is running as smoothly as possible. And the reason you're on tonight is you said you had something that you would like to say, or you had a little prepared statement. Let me go ahead and mute all game audio real fast so they can hear this. You had a prepared statement, so whenever you are ready, go ahead. I guess the mic is yours.
Great, thank you. And I'm going to pretend it's not pre-written, that I'm as cool as I can just do this off the top of my head. But I'm not that cool, so I had to write it out. All right, so why I was interested in coming on the podcast is I want to express some of my thoughts and feelings as in regards to starting the clan, why I worked as hard as I did to get it going, to keep it going, to grow it to the place it is today. If you guys will allow me to get on my soapbox for a minute, I'd like to deliver a message, and this message is not just for the members of Epic, but this is to Destiny players and gamers everywhere. So, once in a while, there's a really special game that comes along. And what I mean is by special is that somehow there's a magic combination that I think the devs and producers didn't expect, and it becomes something far greater than what they originally intended. And there's absolutely no doubt Destiny is one of these very rare games. Uh, I know no other game that takes it as far as Destiny goes in that regard. The gameplay itself, such as the movement mechanics and the skyboxes, they're exceptional. We all know this. And when you first start playing Destiny, it takes almost no time at all for the controls to feel completely natural. It's like an extension of yourself, and the environments are done in such a way that it's very easy to let yourself feel you're really there. There've only been a handful of other games that came even close to this. For example, the Halo 1 campaign, if you played through that, I think you know what I mean. And that also happens to be a Bungie game. That's just happenstance, though. But I think what really makes Destiny so special, it goes way beyond the topic of just video games. And that's really why I wanted to come on the show today. I wanted to relay what I've learned and my feelings on the topic, and in the hopes that some of it can be absorbed by others and pass it on. Not only reinforce what some other longtime endgame Destiny players know, but in light of the game coming to PC and the influx of new players, to hopefully help them understand what the game can really be. So what is this mysterious topic I'm talking about? The shortest and most accurate way I've been able to express this is the words, the pack. I'm going to read some words from a poem by Rudyard Kipling. These are the same words that Bungie used in the pre-release Destiny trailer called The Law of the Jungle. And, no matter how many times I watch that video, I still get chills. And ACB, if you'd be so kind as to put a link to that in the show notes, I'll send you that link in a little bit here.
Yeah, no problem.
So I'm going to read this now. And this is just an excerpt from it. You can look up the full poem if you're interested, but here's the piece that was in the video and the piece that I really gets me the most. Now this is the law of the jungle, as old and as true as the sky. And the wolf that shall keep it may prosper, but the wolf that shall break it must die. As the creeper that girdles the tree trunk, the law runneth forward and back. For it is the strength of the pack. For the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack. If you're a longtime Destiny raider, you most likely understand this better than some others might. For those of you that have been stuck on a raid boss for hours, either during the learning process or maybe due to bugs, I think you'll understand. But either way, during that time, people can go through all kinds of emotions, everything from dejected, sad, to physically running around the house yelling with joy, waking up the spouse and baby. The entire raid or nightfall process brings people together. It forges friendships. When the same team plays together on a regular basis, they become like family. You get to know each other like brothers and sisters, often exposing more of the real you than you do to people in real life. I will never forget Coop, Hot Derg Fingers, who I did Nightfalls with every week through all of Destiny 1, or my weekly raid team, and many others that I played with on a regular basis. They all feel like brothers and sisters to me. The root of Epic was formed when Coop, Derg, and I were wanting a raid team. But we really didn't know enough people outside our trio to do it. Eventually, I started doing LFG raids with varying success. When I would encounter exceptionally friendly or helpful people, I invited them to join our little 100 group. Once I finally knew what I was doing as a raider, I wanted to pass on what others had done for me. And this is why I ran hundreds of Crota teaching raids or flawless raider runs with 5 people I've never even met. To either find those special people that really get it when it comes to being a team and don't know how to connect to a team of other like-minded players, or for the ones that have the potential but have never been exposed to what it really means, and to bring them into our Epic family. Over time, Epic grew to what it is today. 750 plus of the nicest people you will meet in gaming or in real life. And what I'm really trying to get at here, the short story is that the Destiny, the game itself, is incredible, but the connections between people in Destiny are far more important than the game itself. The game is just a means to bring people together in one place. If a player has vast game knowledge or experience, doesn't matter. If a player is a type A leader or a nearly silent follower, doesn't matter. If a player is young or old, it doesn't matter. What country they're from, it doesn't matter. What does matter is realizing we're all just people working to accomplish something together, and all of us have weaknesses and strengths. Raiding and Destiny in general is about working together, because the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on, and to everyone listening, I'm going to have a clip of that so we can hear that just by itself, because that is so good to hear. Laura, I don't think there's anything else that we can add to that that's going to make that any better. So thank you so much for coming on tonight, and thank you for that prepared statement.
Yeah, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to express myself and let other people hear what I feel. Yeah, and I'll send you that link because I think it's important for people to take a look at that video. Watch it through 2 or 3 times and listen to the words as you're watching it, and it means a lot to me. And I think some of you will also get a lot out of watching that.
It'll be in all the descriptions everywhere, so people will be able to find it. Well, if there's nothing else that you would like to say, then I want to say thank you for coming on here. And the email to send the audio should be in the description, or should be in the Slack chat.
Yep, I'll find it. Great. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
See you later. I'm out.
See you, man.
Bye.
Well, David, we're supposed to have a podcast after that, man.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess we're going to try our best to follow that up. After that amazing talk from one of the founders of this clan, I guess pretty much the founder who really started it and then had help of other 2 amazing guardians. We had a TWAB this week. I don't know really where to go from it, so we're just going to jump. We had a TWAB this week, and they talked about the Curse of Osiris. We got a little bit of a sort of probably what's going to be the intro to it, the intro cutscene, and just a couple of different things in the TWAB. So I guess let's start off with that. So first off, they're just saying that we have the new adventures coming out very soon. Less than half a month. And they had a stream which we'll talk about it. They had a stream which talked about some of the places you can go on Wednesday, and we're going to wind up I don't know what I think about these streams, but we'll talk about it in a little bit. But next week they're going to show off some of the new adventures, including the biggest public event and different things like that. And like I said, they had the Curse of Osiris sort of intro trailer. So what are some of your thoughts real fast on just that stuff that they've shown us this week? And we'll get more in depth with the reveal stream, but just basic thoughts so far. David, you still there?
Sorry, your audio was cutting out for a minute.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I was just saying, what were your basic thoughts about the intro trailer and what they've shown us so far, excluding the reveal stream?
Yeah, it looks good. It looks pretty interesting.
Well, guys, this is ACB.
My party just
Sounds
disappeared.
like David wound up dropping out of the party. I'm going to try to get him back real fast and see what we can do. We may have to do the rest of the podcast another. Yes, spoilers, Hops. Let me see if I can get David back in the party real fast.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Okay, sweet. Invite sent to David. Well, I'm going to go ahead and talk and say that I thought it was awesome. And I wish I would have seen a little bit less, but yeah, I do like that we get a little bit of hype. We see Osiris. We see, yeah, I know it's about Osiris. We see just sort of what he's doing, how he's going around. He's somehow going around through time and manipulating things. Like it showed like a raid, but then the Vex are catching on to that. The Vex caught on to that, and so it's just it's going to be interesting to see essentially the most powerful warlock out there outsmarted or at least caught off guard by the Vex. David, you here?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know what happened. It worked perfectly the whole time I was sitting here silently, and then once I needed to talk, it stopped. But yeah.
Oh well, as long as we still got recording.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It looks interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about the new raid activity sort of thing. It might be great.
Yeah.
It might not be good. It remains to be seen. It has the potential to either be really good or really bad. One minor thing that they added that I really like and felt that Destiny 2 has been missing is they have that wall that you can light up the things by completing activities. And so it just seems really nice that they're actually trying to encourage people to do things and give us the rewards that say, I have done everything. Because there's not really anything in the game right now that you can't get without doing a long grind. You know, like you can get all the raid weapons from packages and just running the raid a couple times on easy. The only thing I can think of is the exotic shader for the raid shotgun, the Legend of Acrius, I think it's called. So it's very nice that they're adding
some of the exotics, if you don't decrypt an exotic engram, can take a while, but that's just literally RNG on when you get an exotic engram.
Right.
Well, guys, so we have started talking about the reveal stream a little bit, and so I'm going to go back and say, when we were talking about the new raid activities, and I've heard a lot of bit of chatter this week, and I've heard both ends of the stick. I've heard people say, "Oh man, we're not getting another full-fledged raid," and then I'm also hearing, "Well, these are sort of like dungeons from other MMOs." And thank goodness we aren't getting a full raid, so we don't have Crota's Inn 2.0. And I know that it was Lore's favorite raid, but it was Lore's favorite raid because it was soloable, because they did it really quickly, or did it before they had time to get feedback on the base game, Destiny Vanilla. And so I don't know. I'm excited. I don't really have a reason to play the raid every week, especially just because of the reward systems, but I am looking forward to maybe a reason to go play some of that raid content, even if it's new, like new things to do. So I'm fine. I think I'm optimistic, but we'll just have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, I'm optimistic too. At first, when I first read it, because I just read the Reddit response to it, I wasn't too thrilled. But now that I thought about it more, it could be good if like they actually make it where like the Vex have completely taken over Leviathan and all of the encounters are completely different, and it's just the Leviathan is kind of a hub world for different raids, and they have no relation to each other. But the other way it could go is if they just made the gauntlet Vexified, so you're fighting Vex instead of Cabal. Like that's not
but how do you trigger the normal version or the new version, or is it automatically a new version? Because if it is that and they make the gauntlet screen. Okay.
Yeah.
So gotcha.
Yeah, so it's
I hope it's more than that. I hope it's new areas. I really hope it's not just, hey, here's the same areas, but now you have Vex and something slightly different to do. Um,
yeah, they can keep the same structure with like that hub center and then three different rotating activities and then a final major boss. Um, but as long as the actual activities are different,
as
yeah,
long as they have two major activities, as long as they are like you said, something different, I think that's going to be the best thing in the end. If it's not technically a new raid, new thing to do, as long as there's new loot to get, I think that'll actually bring me towards the. Yeah, Colonel Panic's saying that. Okay, they're saying it's a new area. It's in the underbelly, so I think we don't have to worry about recycling old content. I think they're going to add new. It'll be sort of like, from what I understand, it'll be sort of like I said, dungeons, and then they'll have one more set of dungeons with the next DLC, and then it's sort of like one major raid location a year, and then just dungeons added. So um, it's gonna be pretty cool. I'm excited for it. But honestly, I don't know. Maybe because I just didn't get into this raid as much as other people have. I'm more excited about the new story and what they're showing us for. Like, we're gonna see Osiris. We're gonna potentially interact with him. We're going back to the lighthouse, and we're going to talk to Brother Vance again. And well, if you went to the lighthouse in Destiny 1, it's just I don't know. It's just gonna be interesting that we're actually gonna get new story and not just it's gonna be nice.
yeah, it's always nice to get a new story. I think the story around Osiris is particularly interesting. Um, just particularly since we just had a story that was kind of driven by the speaker, where the speaker was kind of a central focus, and Osiris is kind of represents a completely different philosophy to the speaker. So since we've now lost the speaker in the game, it could be interesting to see if Osiris and his philosophy comes back and is now a major player.
It would be very nice. I don't know. It may just be one of. Hopefully, it's not just one of those things of like, hey, Osiris is sitting over here on the in the lighthouse. Turn stuff into him, which I know they're gonna sort of do a little bit of revamping, but it's just hopefully it's not just, oh, hey, you had that story, now Osiris is. I hope there's like some, like you said, some major like world changing stuff, or at least some idea changing stuff. Anything else that we want to say? Go ahead.
I was going to say, assuming Osiris doesn't die in the course of the campaign or sacrifice himself or disappears into the Vex network again, presumably he'll come back and become part of the government of the last city and the tower, and having his voice that pushes to understand the darkness instead of just the preserve the city will hopefully give a very different style to the game going forward, assuming Bungie wants to carry the story forward and give us a sense of progression.
It sounds like they want to. We just gotta, I guess, wait and see. It's interesting. It's just interesting story wise. I'm not gonna get too much more into that and what they showed. But next week they're gonna be showing off live fire exercises, some activities, and the biggest public event. And then a shooting tour of the Infinite Forest. They show the Infinite Forest, which is sort of sounds like a new social space, or not a new social space, sounds like a new patrol. But a lot of people are trying to say that it's some new PoE style thing because it says you can go in past, present, and future. But it just sounds like a new patrol. At least to me, it does.
Yeah, to me, it sounded more like a mini strike where you could choose among three different zones, and it would be slightly different every time. But I think it just have the same kind of structure. So to me, it sounded more like a mini strike. And I guess in that way it could be similar to Prison of Elders, but not like a arena
Well,
type thing.
from what I heard, they've said there'll be patrols and stuff, or not patrols. There'll be like what do you call that? public events and just different stuff that would show up on patrol. But they did say that it can change, and that they sort of are controlling how it changes. But it will be different maybe every time you go in there, maybe every week you go in there. So it sounds to me like a patrol space, but some people are trying to maybe say it's a horde mode. I'm not real sure yet, and I guess we'll see when we get the reveal stream. I'm wary on this reveal stream. Like, what I mean by that is I like making Destiny content for YouTube and for stuff like that, and so like just like any of the big content creators, you watch all this stuff, and normally I'm gung ho. I'm like spoilers galore. You tell me everything, and I will be happy knowing everything in advance as long as I get a chance to experience it. But I'm not so sure with this Infinite Forest. I don't know. I may skip this stream.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna probably watch it after the fact. I don't think I'm gonna set an alarm on my phone to make sure that I'm have the time free to watch it. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for new content. Destiny has been starting to wear on me a bit, and I haven't been having as much fun, so I've been playing other games. And so it's nice to have new content, but nothing that I've seen so far for A Curse of Osiris seems really great. It seems like it'll give me a few more weeks of enjoyment out of the game. But
I mean, it should give us a decent amount of playtime in there. Just as long as we're not required to play 4,000 hours to unlock Osiris as a
yeah,
playable character. Hey, topical joke is topical. It should be very interesting.
yeah. What I'm actually almost more excited about is season 2 and the sandbox changes that come with it. So the one thing I'm looking forward to is I've discovered that the most fun I have playing PvP is with a submachine gun, an auto rifle, and a sword, and just blinking with a warlock right up to people and playing ridiculously aggressively. It's not the best strategy. I'm not very good at it, and my KD ratio has plummeted since I've started playing like this. But it's a lot more fun, I find, and I'm just excited to hopefully maybe they make that more viable than the sit in the back of the map with the meta that we have right now.
Well, just get you a Uriel's and you can sit in the back with an auto rifle. It just depends on what they do. I really hope they don't nerf autos because autos are really, really strong right now, especially that Euros. I wouldn't mind if they nerfed high cal rounds. I wouldn't be surprised if they nerfed high cal rounds. I wouldn't mind it. Maybe just it doesn't do as much in hopefully it still gets the high cal in PvE. But as long as they don't nerf hand can or what do you call that? Auto rifles too much because I do enjoy using autos in
Yeah, I don't think auto rifles
PvP.
as a whole are in a bad place. Like high caliber rounds on auto rifle do a lot just because you're getting so hit so frequently with the gun. So they do a lot. So maybe tone that back, or another thing they could do to auto rifles is maybe pull in their range a little bit, because they seem to be competing at longer ranges that should be more pulse rifle ranges, because pulse rifles don't really feel that viable right now. And so maybe
I mean,
pulling the
they're
auto rifle.
decent, but there are other weapons way better than them.
Right, and so it seems like in the ranges that should be pulse rifle ranges, auto rifles still meet or beat pulse rifles. So there's a few small changes. I don't think there needs to be big changes to auto rifles, but there's probably needs to be changes to high caliber rounds, and I'm not sure how to get out of this scout rifle meta that we find ourselves in. Yeah, I mean, I find I have more fun not using scout rifles, but you lose.
You gotta play around it. Most maps have scout rifle lanes. Definitely. What I find myself doing is I sort of play a mid range. I finally got a Uriel's probably last week, and so I'm definitely taking advantage of that. But I am using all the tricks we have, or all the sort of things we have available. Like I'm running double um pulse grenade striker titans. So in order to kind of combat some of that um, scout rifle range, I'm running up, throwing a pulse rifle, sort of where they're being, especially on objective game modes, where they want to be in a certain spot, throwing a pulse rifle, and then backing up so they cannot get that view on me, or like making all my engagements inside of um, areas that have to be like a little bit more close range. For example, on the Iron Temple map, if you go inside the caves in the middle, or you go inside the room um, off on one of the sides, that you can force engagements to be smaller range. But unless you're playing smart, yeah, you're going to be killed by scout rifles.
Yeah, and I guess it's just the thing. Like if I try really hard and I pick my engagements, I can play aggressively and do decent. But if I'm just fooling around, I'm gonna get mowed down by scout rifles, which I guess I deserve for just messing around. But it seems like the level of effort you have to put in to do good with a scout rifle is much lower than you would have to do playing aggressively.
Yeah, I guess that could also be map design, could be a couple of different things. But yeah, I'm excited. Or what kind of changes? What is there any type of gun that you really want to see brought up into the forefront? And we've been talking a little bit about nerfs and stuff, but what do you want to see brought up? What do you want to see maybe made viable with this sandbox change?
I'd like to see hand cannons get a little better. Um, just because I don't see them very much. I've heard they're very good on PC. Um,
Which, okay, we'll talk about that in a second too. But so you want hand cannons to come through? Go ahead. I cut you off.
yeah, I like to see hand cannons grow up just because I don't see them very much. They're also not really viable a lot in PvE because they don't have as much carried ammo capacity, and so they become a bit of a liability there. So just some general improvements to hand cannons, I think would you start to see more of them and get more weapon variety. Um, I would also like to see some of the, I guess, higher rate of fire scout rifles. So there's a couple really fun scout rifles to use, which are the fully automatic scout energy scout rifles that are like they behave more like very low rate of fire auto rifles that are fun to use, but they're not really viable in PvP. And they have nowhere near enough ammo in PvE. So it'd be nice if they made those a little better. Maybe give them more ammo to make them more viable in PvE. Um, they might not. They might not ever be in a good place in PvP. Um, yeah,
They're fun in PvE, but yeah, you run out of ammo real quick.
yeah. I was just doing another run through another character, and I was using one of those because it's my most powerful gun. And when I had it, I was doing great, but I'd run out of ammo after 5 clips, which takes 45 seconds to go through, and then I wouldn't have any ammo left.
Well, I would personally like sidearms to come in. I started playing a lot with sidearms at the end of Destiny 1, and I know everyone else did. And they just seem meh, very meh. Take a full clip to kill someone, or when you do finally kill someone with them, you're just sitting there hoping you can reload or having to switch. And not that I want them to kill, maybe not that I want them to kill faster, but I just want them to be viable in slightly longer ranges. Um, just so that if you want to have something where you spam the trigger a lot to get that kill, you can. I know that people have done well with Rat King, not just with other people, but people have done well with Rat King by themselves. But that's still like a very poor weapon choice when you have Mida or Uriel's or um, even oh crap, what's the Vanguard auto rifle?
So,
Even something like that.
was it Martyr's Make or something?
No, that's maybe that's the secondary. I can't think of it right now. But anyways, when you have like all these other guns that are so much better, um, uh, especially at range, you have to be almost touching them for your sidearm to really do anything. And there's only two or three multiplayer maps that will work. In PvE, they're okay, but there are still way better weapons to use in PvE other than sidearms. And so I want them to maybe be a little bit stronger in PvE, and then PvP maybe extend their range out just a little bit to get them in at least contention with hand cannon range. Maybe not that far, but pretty close. Just because I would love to be able to play with some sidearms.
Yeah, I mean, I could even see them matching hand cannons for range, um, because they're a very different style weapon, like you said, like where sidearms you're supposed to basically spam the trigger and get off those shots as fast as possible, whereas hand cannons you should be pacing your shots. So they could use a range buff. I mean, the only sidearms that I think are viable right now are the three burst Obalon ones, like the Last Hope. Those are very good for people who are trying to play aggressive, because you can just shut them down immediately. But they basically have Destiny 1 shotgun range, which is fun because, I mean, it almost feels like you're using a shotgun again. But
Well, I mean, if we can get a Fellwinter's back, I wouldn't mind rocking Fellwinter's. But no, I'm messing. There are plenty of shotguns that do well. But yeah, just those those there's just class of weapons that just don't seem like they're going to do well. But what I'm afraid of too is Bungie has talked more than once about seasons of weapons and stuff like that. So they're going to do some buffs to weapons, but what are they going to drag down? And we've already talked about some things that they're going to drag down, so hopefully they don't drag down too much. Um,
yeah, I'd almost be happy if they just completely upend the meta, and rather than doing a bunch of small tweaks to try to balance everything, just completely change how the game works, and there'll be a completely new meta that'll settle. Like, if they want to make auto rifles and scout rifles terrible, and pulse rifles and hand cannons godly in comparison, I'd be happier with that than them trying to tweak everything and just giving us more of this meh kind of poke at each other from a distance meta.
yeah. Well, speaking of metas and stuff, um, one of the designers, I need to give me Last Hope Pops. One of the designers said that the sandbox for PC and Xbox are the same, and any changes that we are feeling, um, we are feeling because of like, oh crap, just fell off the edge. Are feeling because of field of view, mouse and keyboard, stuff like that. And from videos I've seen and from people, it's just general experience with PC. Um, I don't know. People are just saying that they don't believe it. Have you played any PC? Have you watched any PC footage?
I have not, but what I've heard is the bloom on hand cannon seems slower. So basically, that second trigger pull, it seems more accurate on PC, and that might very well be a function of the mouse is a much more accurate input than a thumbstick. But that being said, like, them claiming that it's the same weapons balancing for PC and console is very troubling because they have to be different, because a mouse and keyboard is very different than a controller. And so what could be balanced on a mouse and keyboard, like like a mouse and keyboard doing an 80-degree turn, twitching your wrist and getting a perfect headshot off is feasible for more people than it would be on a controller. So them trying to say it's the same sandbox shows that either they're lying or there's something fundamentally wrong with their game design.
Well, and from what if I hearken back, they have said, from what I've hearkened back, and so Hops is saying that using PC with controller is wonderful. So even with controller on PC, it seems to feel a little bit better. But what I remember harkening back, they said that they can tweak differences between the PC and the console versions, like before the game even came out. And that's one of the big selling points, essentially, was like they don't have to be the same. They can be adjusted for their individual ecosystems. And it's just like the one of the podcasts I like to listen to, they were anecdotally saying that like hand cannons, and probably is just because of mouse and keyboard input, but hand cannons were hitting things across the map. Even though they were low numbers, they were hitting things all the way across the map on some patrol spaces. And that on console, the same control spaces, they were never registering a hit across the map. And so it's just, and maybe whoever was designing the PC version forgot to add in the complete like weapon drop off range for hand cannons, but that just seems weird that they're supposed to have the same sandbox right now, but you can like essentially hit people across the map, at least with that initial shot.
Yeah, and it
Um,
could be a misinterpretation. It could be that what he meant is the statistics for each weapon is the same. So, like the rate of fire, the stability, handling are the same for both PC and console, which I believe is true. And it's just a matter of whether the game handles those numbers the same.
well, no, here's what I mean. They were one of the top YouTubers specifically asked, or Twitch streamers, I guess, specifically ask about Bloom. Why is Bloom so much better on PC? And they go, Bloom's not better on PC. It's the same. Um, and they literally said Bloom is the same on PC, and it works the same way. And that streamer essentially said, BS, that's not true. And the guy said, no, totally, it's true. We designed them to be the same right now. And so I mean, I'm going to play console. I'm not going to play PC. I don't have a strong enough laptop. It's just seems weird to me. They should be able to hopefully. Why the reason I'm bringing that up is hopefully hand cannons will get better on console. Maybe they can make them the same.
And I would find it shocking if there's not some sort of difference between how guns behave on PC and console. Because I mean, there has to be a difference because they turn off auto aim when you're using mouse and keyboard. So there has to be a difference.
The mouse and keyboard auto aim thing will definitely be different, but they're claiming everything else is the same. But everyone says that recoil is so much smoother, and probably is just because of the mouse and keyboard. But we'll just have to wait and see. Any more things we want to talk about? Either Osiris or meta changes or something like that?
Uh, I don't think so. Have you been enjoying
All right.
the
Well, let's
Clarion
go
Call?
ahead. I have not even touched Clarion Call yet. I played a bunch of Destiny 2 for whatever reason. I got back on a huge Destiny 2 kick and been playing a ton of it. I'm playing Fallout 4. We actually bought my wife and I have been playing Cuphead, which is interesting. But I've been playing a ton of Destiny 2, and it's just fun. But no, haven't played with any clanmates yet.
Yeah.
But I need to.
Yeah, I've not had a chance to play it easier either, but last weekend I did decide I need to get my second character up to level. So it was much more of a grind than I remembered, but it was nice because so the reason I did it is I saw a Future War Colt submachine gun that I wanted, um, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to get it, but I already pledged my character to a faction, so I need to get a second character up to level. And I mean, I actually enjoyed it because it was something that I felt like this is a challenge to give myself. Here is a list of activities that I need to do in order to get it. And if I work hard and do this list of activities, I can get the reward. Sure, the list of tasks was longer than the quality of the reward, but I really liked that, and I feel like that's something that this game is lacking.
Well, see, I'm the complete opposite. I don't know. I've started my hunter. I'm not even I haven't even started on my warlock, but I'm like level level 7 with my hunter, and it's so hard for me to want to go back and do that again. I'm having so much fun with my Titan, and Titan is my main, definitely. But I'm having so much fun with my Titan, it's hard to go back and be like, oh, I got to go through these again. So I'm glad somebody's saying that it's fun to go through the story missions again, because it's like pulling teeth for me, man. I go through and maybe do a story mission or half a story mission a day, maybe.
Right, and I think it helped me because there's that clear reward at the end. It wasn't just, oh, I need to get my second character up to get more of the same. It was in my head, I had set a goal, and this is it, and it was a nice grind challenge to get that I put in 8-10 hours to do, or whatever it takes to do.
Gotcha. Okay, I can see that. So speaking of faction rallies, turns out New Monarchy won this time. Turns out nobody wants a stinky, crappy grenade launcher when you can have a nice, shiny sword. But, do we believe that they truly won, or is this all staged? Because if Future War Cult wins the third faction rally, there's no way I'm going to grind super hardcore to make New Monarchy win. You know, they need to have Dead Orbit, and now this could be staged as well, but they need to have Dead Orbit come out and win the third one, and then Future War Cult can win. But Future War Cult can't win that next one, or everyone is going to believe that it is rigged. Unless they give 2 grenade launchers as rewards, and then like Future War Cult has something cool. But
yeah, I think it was pretty. I don't think it was staged. There is a bot on Discord that you can use to see what the actual ranking is right now, and it was New Monarchy was pretty far ahead. I think it was on Friday. They had like 50% more, because the reward was substantially better than the other ones. Whereas I don't think people realized how terrible that Dead Orbit Scout Rifle was going to be.
No, I didn't even wind up buying it because people were saying it was so bad. But the New Monarchy sword ain't bad. And honestly, the only thing I'm sort of sad about is that we didn't get a chance to buy the whatever the Future War Cult weapon was, or the sidearm from New Monarchy in this faction rally. Like, they weren't available to purchase. Maybe the Future War Cult was, I don't know. But the New Monarchy sidearm that we could have gotten was not available. I was kind of shocked by that. But you know, I like the New Monarchy shaders. Everybody else does. And it's probably legit. But why do we have to have tracking services from a third-party app to tell us who's winning? Maybe, you know, they don't have to show us. You know, they don't have to show us exactly everything, like exactly what the final score is. But like I think we talked about it last week or the week before, just give us some indication. Say, hey, New Monarchy won Friday afternoon. And they're like, oh, man. And then so we can kind of track it ourselves. I don't know.
Or just have something where there's like 3 flags in a traditional podium shape for the different factions, and you see who's winning at any given time. Or just some sort of indication of who's winning. Yeah. Maybe they'll add it for Season 2.
Probably not, but oh well. It's optimistic to see that. But anyways, it's there. The Monarchy sword. Let me see. Oh, Iron Banner's coming out November 21st at 1 a.m. Pacific. So if you're not doing Thanksgiving stuff, play some Iron Banner. It's Clash, and it's going to be significantly changed. First off, this is the last Iron Banner to get Season 1 stuff, Season 1 Iron Banner stuff, because after this it will be changed. But they said challenges will be offered each day for additional token awards, as long as milestones to do. So, I mean, there's extra challenges to do, but it doesn't look like they've turned on the direct buying of gear yet.
Yeah, they add that.
Hopefully they'll get to it.
Yeah, there's a comment on the TWAB that's Iron Banner will return in Season 2 with new rewards and new ways to earn them. So it seems like the changes that they were saying are going to be different in Season 2.
Which will definitely be better because I liked having a way knowing I'm going to get something if I wasn't able to get it as an in-game reward, especially because there's not in-game rewards right now. But you know, that's just going to be something to look forward to. Anything else about Iron Banner? All right. Well, excuse me. There was a hot fix. There was a hot fix that came out that did some things for PC. And then the last thing on the TWAB was there was 3 movies of the week, and they were all pretty cool this week. But I think the only thing really the only thing we need to, I don't think there's anything else we can talk about, unless we want to go back to the Osiris stuff. But it's just been a very good week. There's not really been anything this week, but it's just been a very good week to play, I guess, for me. So, anything else you would like to say during this podcast tonight?
Nope.
All right. Well, I want to thank Lore for coming on. We thanked him profusely, but I want to thank Lore for coming on. I want to thank David Allen for sticking it out and being on the podcast despite having to join us in an unconventional way. So we are going to stop the podcast now, and I'm going to finish up this strike, and then we will be done. So have a good night, guys.